What is up, guys? And I'm here with my first impressions of the new iPad, also known as the iPad 3. So let's hop right into it. There are a couple points that I just want to discuss about it that I think you all should know. I'm just going to hit the major differences and upgrades in the new iPad. I'll talk about the pricing and I'll talk about some other additional features. So, first of all, the iPad, the main selling point that Apple has decided to market this guy with is, as you probably already know, is the display. It's got a huge display. We're talking 2094 by 1536. Okay, this is really good, and it's a definite improvement over the iPad 2 and the iPad 1. Um, and I do want to say, however, that this huge resolution they've been advertising saying, oh, it's bigger than any other tablet, portable device, whatever, that's fine, but past a certain point, you're not actually going to notice the resolution increase. Because your eyes just simply can't perceive the amount of pixels crammed into a small area. It's microscopic. But it is a definite improvement over the old iPad. To put this into some perspective, your 55-inch television, sitting in your living room, uh, its resolution is not as high as the iPad, and its screen size is probably easily 5 or 6 times as large, maybe larger. So that's just something to think about. It's a definite improvement, but it might not be quite as amazing as they make it sound because you really you're not going to be able to notice a difference that's past a certain point. But this is great. I like it. Um, Second of all, the camera. This is another big change. They've upgraded the backwards facing camera to 5 megapixels, which is pretty good. It's similar. I think it's actually the same as the camera in the iPhone 4. It's got the eyesight technology. You know, um, that macro micro mode. It's got some good features. And another interesting thing is they've got you can now record 1080p HD on the iPad. Now that's great. Um, I'm a little bit hesitant to just go and say that that's just amazing, because 1080p HD looks really good if you have an actual video recorder that records that 1080p. However, I have an iPad 2 and it says it records 720 HD, which is still really good, but I've recorded some videos and let me tell you the quality isn't spectacular. So, but hey, it's an improvement. I like it. I think that's a great idea. One thing I was a little disappointed to see was the front-facing camera did not actually I believe get a huge upgrade. It's still zero point 0.3 megapixels, which is really low, um, and the frames per second is still 30. So I would have liked to FaceTime my friends in 1080p, but yeah, I mean that'll probably come later. But that would have been nice to see. Um, Another thing is to support this new the new graphics capabilities on this iPad. They had to give it another processor. They gave it an A5X chip, which is it seems to be a good bit better than the iPad 2. However, the processing speed was clocked to be at 1 gigahertz, which is actually the same processing speed as the iPad 2. Um, what my understanding is, or what I think was going on, was perhaps the card was more. It wasn't actually supposed to help the actual speed of the processing. However, it was supposed to help to let the iPad keep up with the display and the graphics going on. And that's what I have on the second bullet. They added a quad core graphics processor, which is actually really big. That's impressive. Now, another interesting note that they didn't really advertise is it's got 1 gigabyte of RAM. So the iPad 2 had 512. That's 50% of the amount the iPad 3 has. So that's going to make multitasking 50% easier, 50% faster. Um, and I think that's a good idea because sometimes when you're running a lot of apps, they hang up a bit. But hey, 1 gigabyte of RAM. To put that into some perspective, a lot of netbooks actually, the old netbooks when they were kind of a fad, a real thing, they were like 1 gigabyte. So that's pretty good. I'm impressed with that. A lot of other tablets have that nowadays, though. So it was only a matter of time, really. Last thing I want to talk about is they're really pushing this one hard. It's the 4G capabilities, which most of you probably already know it's a way faster cell phone cellular service And it's just basically it's an elevated network. And if you connect to it, I don't know if you guys have ever used it, but it's really really fast, especially the Verizon LTE. I mean, you get that thing going, and it's like you're on a nice home Wi-Fi network. Okay, so you might think this is just something like a little minor plus. No, this is actually it's pretty important. It's going to be a little bit more expensive with the 4G, but I think it might be worth it. We'll talk about the pricing in a minute, but if you are one of those guys who, you're traveling a lot, you're at the airport, you're at the office, whatever, you don't like your Wi-Fi at the office, and you constantly need an internet connection, you're checking your email, then I actually think this is gonna be a great help to you. A lot of times, like I'm in the airport, I'm like, okay, time to connect to the internet. Let me download this app. Let me send this email. Let me work on this essay that I have in the cloud. But I literally, there are like 10 Wi-Fi networks, but they're all like locked, or you have to buy a card or whatever. But with the iPad, it's like, okay, I've got my 4G. I don't care where I am. I'm gonna have a connection. So if you're traveling a lot and you're big on that internet, I actually think that's a really important factor if you're gonna buy this thing. So a couple other things that they added is just voice commands. It's just a little smaller. It's a little slimmer. It's just a little lighter, and they also you got Bluetooth 4.0, which I suppose is faster, better, supports some more devices. Um, but these are more like I feel like they're more like afterthoughts, especially because voice commands and even the Bluetooth. I feel like maybe they could, maybe not the Bluetooth, but the voice commands. I feel like they could patch and put in the iPad too. Just like Siri, I feel like you could put that. You could put that in the iPad. It doesn't matter what version you have because Siri really is a server. You're connecting to a server. Is what it is. It's not like it's all the processing is actually going on your device. So actually, I was a little disappointed not to see Siri, but whatever. Maybe next time. Maybe in an update. Actually, I feel like in an update, it's definitely gonna happen. But as far as the pricing goes, now Apple devices have always been very expensive, and but if you don't have an iPad and you don't have an iPhone, I I honestly think that an iPad will be worth your money. Period. It's expensive, but you'll see after a couple hours of using it that using an iPad is it's worth its weight in gold. I mean, it's so universal. It's so innovative. I really think if you don't have an iPad, it's worth picking up the iPad 3. Now, if you do have an iPad, possibly not. If you have an iPad 1, I would actually go for it because the iPad 1 it doesn't have a camera. It's slow. Not as much RAM. Resolution kind of sucks. iPad 3, you're gonna get all this huge boost and all kinds of upgrades, and it's still gonna be semi-competitive price at $500. So that's pretty decent. Um, a lot of other tablets with the same kind of features are going to cost you like 600 and above. Now, if you want to go for the Wi-Fi plus the 4G, that is your call. Like I said, if you're into the internet, I would go for it, but it's gonna cost you a good bit extra. Like you can see, $130. That's a lot of money for some cellular service. But if that's your thing, I would go for it. If you have an iPad 2 like me, I think I'm gonna hold off on it. I've played with it, I like it, but I think I'm gonna hold off on it because I don't feel like I'm actually gonna use the camera that much on a tablet, and I don't feel like I actually need a resolution. And if I did, it is not worth a $500 upgrade. Um, but if you don't have an iPad, I would definitely go for it. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The channel is totally new, so I would really, really appreciate it if you guys would just comment, rate, and subscribe. I love that. I need all the support I can get. You guys can check out my website too if you like this stuff. Check it out. It's in the link in the description. And I thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. Later.